In this video, I want to show you the tech business models that are dominating our time, how they are connected in some ways to each other, and why competition today is more complex than used to be just a few years back, and also how their business models work. We're going to look at three main aspects: how they make money, so the revenue model; what's the core product, so how they really are able to generate a continuous flow and stream of customers, users on their platforms; what's the distribution model that each of those companies is using. So let's get to it right now. Here we're looking at the framework of the companies that comprise Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and then we have Microsoft, Netflix, and Google. If we look at Facebook, really in terms of revenue model, it's really advertising. So pretty much most of the revenues that are generated by the company are actually through advertising. The core products, Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, which are the three core products of the company. And in terms of distribution model, so how Facebook was able to keep its competitive edge over the years was through a set of very successful acquisitions. Facebook acquired both WhatsApp and Instagram. Both companies would become very important for the overall ecosystem created by Facebook. So really, if we look at the kind of distribution model that Facebook is using, it's more like product driven, so driven by successful products that have a very strong brand, and those products were acquired over the years by the company. Like companies like Facebook, and as we will see, like Google, actually managed over the years to produce a model where advertising would be served on their main assets, which in Facebook case is it's the news feed, and then on Google case is the search results pages. The advertising would be so targeted in some cases that actually users would not even realize that this was advertising. Now, if we look at another company like Apple, Apple is primarily a product-driven company. So it's a company where you have a few core products that have been very successful, like for instance the iPhone, which still generates 55% of the company's revenues, and other products that are coming up that are very strong in terms also of sales now in the last years. So how actually Apple is distributing its products? Really, it's a mixed distribution model where the company has both direct and indirect distributions, meaning that the company is able to sell its own products in the stores, and these amounted of about 31% in 2019. And then the remaining side is actually Apple is driving its products through a set of indirect channels like cellular networks and other indirect channels that are driving a lot of distribution for the company. So if you think about Apple, you think about usually the Apple Store, but in reality there is a lot of sales that are made outside the Apple Store, although the company is using this sort of mixed direct and indirect distribution model. And thanks to this mixed model, the company was able to push to mass production products that otherwise would be too expensive for most people in the marketplace. And then if we look at another company like Amazon, Amazon really at core is an e-commerce company. However, is also a platform business model where the company hosts third-party sellers on its core e-commerce platform. Over the years, Amazon managed to grow its core e-commerce platform and then host more and more third-party sellers. Indeed, as of 2018, most of the sales were coming from third-party stores. Amazon is sort of using a different model, distribution or actually growth model, which is more based on a flywheel model. Amazon has also developed successful programs to dominate the market over the years, things like Amazon Prime, that help the company to drive as much as possible repeat customers to the platform, or affiliations that help the company, especially in the early years, to really grow fast by driving a lot of traffic from third-party websites and brands. So other companies that were willing to feature their products on Amazon platform because they could get also, for instance, the delivery or the fulfillment taken care by the same company. If we look at another company like Microsoft, Microsoft is pretty much a productivity company. Within Microsoft, there are other products, like a gaming console, Xbox, then you have advertising, search advertising with Bing, and then you have like LinkedIn, which is a professional social network, and then you have other things like GitHub, which again are all products acquired over the years. and those were integrated within Microsoft. Microsoft is at the core really using a distribution model where it leverages on direct sales and licensing of its products. So this is the success of the company over the years and decades, and still today Microsoft has a strong brand. But as we will see, right now many of the Microsoft products are getting exchanged for some of the Google products that is becoming more and more dominant in the productivity space. Also, Google itself changed its mission from just providing you the information that you need to get things done. And this change, you will understand, it's very critical, because this new mission of Google going forward means that Google will take more and more space of companies like Microsoft. That's why when we look at the boundaries of today's business, it's very important to have an open mindset when you can look how existing products start to conflict and cannibalize each other, and now companies like Google might actually take a good chunk from other companies like Microsoft and vice versa. Then there is Netflix, which is primarily a streaming company, although it started primarily as a VOD service company. Most of the revenues is coming from streaming. So over the years, Netflix, especially initially, used the VOD delivery model to grow its business model and make it viable at the beginning. And after over a decade, actually the streaming model started to become sustainable, and that's when a few years back started to really grow very fast. And now streaming is really the main part of companies like Netflix. Revenue model, again, it's subscription based, and here Netflix is using pretty much a model where before it used to be a platform driving as many paying users as possible, and right now it's also become a production company where it's investing more and more in original content. There are several reasons why Netflix is started to invest on original content. Some are related, of course, with offering more and more value to users joining the platform, but some others are also related to the fact that Netflix needed to make its business model viable in the long term. When Netflix used to actually just provide content licensed by third parties, what happened is Netflix didn't own the rights of those licensed programs. So the company had to pay upfront and to make sure that all the content would be available, but then the rights on this content would change over the years. So that's why Netflix right now started a few years back, I think in 2013, started to push more and more on original content, because it was trying to solve an important issue. On one side, as we said, provide as much value as possible to the paying customers, but on the other side also to make its business model more viable by having control on the content produced on the platform. Because if you produce the content, you know that, for instance, in 10 years that content will be available on the platform, there is not much change in the rights of the content, and so you have more control of your business. And even though it's way more probably expensive to develop your content, at the same time the business model also becomes more viable over the years. So this is the bet and the change that Netflix has gone through the last, let's say, 5-10 years. Then we have a company like Google, which is primarily driven by advertising. The core product, it's really search engine, primarily search engine. Then Google has many other products that have been developed over the years. Let's not forget that Google also has hardware devices and also other products that, for instance, are challenging companies like Microsoft in the productivity space. So it's a huge company that has different kinds of products within. The core product are really the search engine and YouTube, which is really sort of video search engines, and now the company is transitioning more and more toward offering a discovery experience to users in a sort of a feed experience, which we are used to see more on social media platforms. So Google is moving now more and more into the direction of social media platforms where in terms of the way it delivers the content to people. So instead of having people to search for the content, people now are prompted to consume content based on their preferences, things they've been looking at, their interests, and so on and so forth. And Google has been driving a lot of growth initially in the first years of existence of the company through really a product-driven growth. So a lot of energies were spent on developing more and more capability of its own search product. But then, as the company grew, the company invested a lot in developing other platforms to generate revenues like Google AdWords, the former Google AdWords, now known as Google Ads, and other platforms like Google AdSense. At the same time, the company would also start to invest money in structuring complex deals. Like, for instance, one of the first deals that made the company successful was with the former tech giant, one of the first tech giants, AOL. And with these sort of deals, actually, Google could have continuous traffic on its platform and could actually generate more and more growth. So those are some of the business models that are dominating today's markets and several industries that were created over the years. But the thing is, the boundaries of the business strategy and the business world are way more complex to understand, because there are a lot of overlapping as those companies try to dominate their markets.